quickly, let's quickly also, deal with the issue of Madame Ekia Donko. You know, Madame Ekia Donko is the flag bearer of and the founder of the Ghana Freedom Party. Unfortunately, she didn't get the opportunity to contest the presidential elections in 2012 because there were problems with the forms that they needed to file at the Electoral Commission. Now, you've followed her for a while now. She's been all about the place, and she had the opportunity to join President Mahama to Italy for that Milan, expo, and now it's become a big issue. Dr. Park, why do you disagree with those who say she should not have been on that team? Because it's a very serious, presidential visit. And if you needed people to go with the president, you should look for people from the business community. And if you needed any farmer, you should look for a farmer who could express themselves.
Well, first of all, Samson, I think that I disagree on this assessment on a number of fronts. I disagree because the entity that represents us and has a capacity to decide who becomes part of a delegation on a foreign trip usually has to look at the reason for embarking on that trip and elements of society whose presence can be of benefit. Now, the state protocol also has a role to play in terms of, those who are supposed to accompany the president. And it is entirely not unusual for people from various backgrounds to be included in the government delegation abroad. But I disagree also because I feel that we are unduly targeting Madame Ekia Donko and indeed trying to impugn her dignity as a citizen of this land. She has every qualification, in as far as I am concerned, to be part of a delegation. First of all, she's a Ghanaian citizen. Second of all, she's in good standing. She's a national figure.
What do you mean by good standing?
Well, she's in good standing because I don't know of anything in the law that makes it scandalous or a crime for her to be a part of a government delegation. Okay. I don't know of that. That is what I mean by good standing. And of course, she is also a farmer. And so if in the wisdom of those who composed the delegation to accompany the president, they felt that as a woman who essentially has come from a rural background and has made it to national prominence, certainly commands attention and respect, from a huge chunk of our society. If she went there and came back, she could share her experiences firsthand and communicate to that segment of society about what she went to see and how some of what she saw could be of benefit to the development of our nation. Then there is no reason why anyone should have any reason to oppose.
Please play me back Ekia Donko's interview when she came back. She was asked how beneficial the trip was to her, what she learned, and this is what she has to say. Essentially, if you have listened to her all over speaking to the media, she said nothing more than what we are playing to you.
And tomatoes, you may have any baby. Ya dear tomatoes who go. Send tomatoes no crano. Ya what dear fry. Ya what dear quite. Ya he shall be an anymore.
The trip was an eye-opener. There are different types of tomatoes. Some for stew, for soup, and for puree. We just don't know how to do this.
Yeah, well, yeah, what tomatoes, yeah, did the panel. Make my biamba. I
am not with the NDC. I am still with the Ghana Freedom Party. But I don't mind being second for President Mahama to lead the country. The rest are bad and they don't deserve a place.
All right. So this is her experience. This is the learning she took from the trip.
This is not entirely accurate. I've heard her on other platforms. When she has spoken about how, you know, that the technology that she witnessed in terms of the tomato processing factory that, you know, she visited, were to come to Ghana, how it was going to help create opportunities for our youth. So this is not entirely the rendition of her commentary based on the experiences that she was exposed to. And I think we should not underrate
So let's
that.
clarify again. She was sticking there because she's a farmer.
Yes. I would argue that that would be one of the primary motivations why she was
the farmers in this country.
At this point,
she was the best place.
At this point, on this
choice.
particular trip, it is possible that the next one, for example, Sir John, who has declared as a cassava farmer, may be on the president's next trip if, you know, it is a trip that certainly would inure to his benefit to also espouse the other benefits that we can derive from cassava processing. So it's not just about Equia Donko. Maybe next time it could be you. You are a good citizen of this country and you are in good standing.
Very, very, very interesting. Yes, let's hear you, Mr. Adman.
You see, the whole thing is something nobody want to appreciate. Will you appreciate if some of us too in the MPP begin to tell every Ghanaian that Equia Donko is an NDC person, and that is why she was selected? No. Now listen, on the supply chain, from production, processing, and marketing, where does Equia Donko fall in our country? We have had chief farmers that have been awarded in our country for their investments and their efforts to augment, increase agricultural productivity, production in this country. Where does Equia Donko fall in that enclave? When it comes to processing, we have the Association of Ghana Industries. Is she even a member? The president couldn't think about picking all of them from that area. Some chief farmers, she picks Equia Donko. When it comes to the marketing end of it, Chamber of Commerce, who did the president go with? So you see...
No, we are talking about farmers, so maybe you should have gone to Gao. That's what you want.
So the Equia Donko going there is a misplaced priority. Who selected her? On what basis? How did they do it? See, the president represents a nation. He's no mean person. But it looks like in this country, our presidents have so much discretion and they can do whatever they want to do with state resources. With state resources. President sits somewhere and says, I'm traveling. Go and get the person. Or state protocol, who is there to have selected Equia Donko for the president without the president's comment? So happy with her to have traveled with her. She was selected for Sinchi. We talked and talked and talked about it. It never ended. The next one is that Equia Donko is on a trip to Italy with our president. My wife was telling me last night that they were interviewing Equia Donko on some platform. And she said, oh, you're free Italy, you know, they assign Rome. Doesn't even know that Rome is part of Italy. So when you go with such a person, what is she going to bring back? And what will be its benefit, the value to our nation? Is she going to plow back the knowledge and understanding she has into processing, into the farming of the tomato, or into the marketing aspect of it? And it takes Equia Donko all the while to get to Italy to know what different types of tomatoes that we have. They didn't even know that you can use tomatoes to eat bread. So what type of trip was this? Look, I saw the Minister for Trade and Industry, Spigabra.
That's right.
At a factory and was inspecting these things. Even that, I had my own reservations. I said, where are we? We started a tomato factory at Polugu.
The Agric Minister was also there.
We started a tomato factory at Polugu. 7 years thereafter, right, we haven't been able to, how do I call it, revamp it. We didn't have raw materials at the time. There was problem with whether we should allow private individuals to grow for us to feed the meal with, or we should do some partial thing, blend the factory's own farming with individuals. There was land issue. All these things were there. The thing has come to a halt. The investments we made into that, well over $5 million, right? There are 2 or so factories processing tomato, canning them, right? Putting them into tins in Tema. So it takes our trade minister to Italy to go to a factory to see how tomato is being processed. I mean, it's funny.
How it's being done differently.
So now,
that is instructive.
Fine, I agree. How it's being done differently. Minister of Agriculture was there, Minister of Trade was there. So Ekwedonkor's place. I've been telling some colleagues that those days when we were young, and there was the Detention What Act, some of us had suspicions. Our parents were telling us that if they take you there, they will inject you with some chemicals, and when you come back, you are no more like a human being. I think what is happening now is that the NDC is not putting people in detention. They are not injecting anybody with injections. But they are doing some things that is making some of us look like something, so that everybody seems to be following them. That is their strategy. Ekwedonkor admits that President Mahama will be first in the election. So why is he going to contest him? Look at this. The rationale behind this, the logic, the thinking. We are going to compete. If I've accepted that he is going to be first, do we go wasting state resources to do an election?
Interesting. Now, Egbert, I'll tell you this, and very frankly, that Bernard Avler, my friend, shared some views which have been captured by TV3 on their website, and I share them wholly. He says, among others, that this woman has been giving out false statements that, for example, the economy has been bad since Nkrumah's time. We changed the pound to the cedi and the likes. And this is a person who reaches out to people in a certain context. And because she is benefiting from state largesse, she is perpetuating the falsehood, and it's very bad. And if we don't change our minds about politics and we don't renew our thinking, we will be poor forever. He goes on to say, you carry Ekwedonkor on our taxpayers' money to Italy. Do you know how much money they spend on such a trip? Do you know how much a plane ticket and a hotel cost? And I am sure she will travel on business class. Definitely. And you are carrying her to Italy for propaganda value, and you sit down and be talking politics. Are you sick? I don't know what's wrong with Ghanaians. And as we sit here, somebody will insult me because they will say I am making NDC unpopular. Is NDC's popularity what you eat for food? Ekwedonkor is sitting in a plane to Italy to go and represent you, to go and represent us. Then I'll take a final comment he made. He says, who in government assesses the trip? I know why Spiogabra is there as trade minister. I know why Fifi Kwete is there as a Greek minister. What on earth is Ekwedonkor doing there? What is her value to, blah, blah, and I mean, why? We are being very foolish as a country. Seriously, I know why the ministers are there. They are having discussions.
Yes, Samson. I think that the level we've gotten to in this country under this Mahama administration is comic. Governance has become a joke. And that is how come,
You don't want to isolate the issue. You are using this, to generalize.
Yeah. And I'm going to then.
But that's not a fair assessment.
Well, but a decision as to who travels with the president to the Milan Expo is very critical. And the president took a critical decision in his mind by approving or even recommending or requesting that Ekwedonkor join. Listen to Ekwedonkor herself. She says that she was sitting here somewhere, as we say in street lingo, and she got a call at Talensi that she has to come to Accra immediately and join the president to go to Italy. And that this was even her first foreign trip. Obviously, because of perceptibly what she did for the NDC in the Talensi election, they needed to show her that, look, we are going to stand with you and give you goodies.
What did she do for the NDC?
But she was there. She was there on ground, campaigning.
She had a candidate there.
She had a candidate which candidate accused her of some financial impropriety, and so the candidate was going to vote against even he himself. You heard that. It is a big job they've given to Ekwedonkor at the expense of the taxpayer. But you see, Apak, my friend, says that Ekwedonkor is a farmer. Well, as to where her farm is, I do not know. The acreage of her farm, I do not know. Whether she plants tomatoes, I do not know. But one thing, I know for a fact that in this republic, there is a place called Tono and Via.
That's right. Actually, in the upper east.
Irrigation. Tomatoes are grown there. President Mahama did not find it expedient to pick anybody from the Tono and Via irrigation sites.
Dr. Park said this is not the first and will not be the last trip.
Samson, you let me, I'm talking for the ordinary Tono and Via farmer. You so come down to Techima. There are tomato farmers. Afrancho, Akumadan, Offensu area.
Even Doma now.
Doma, go to Adan.
We have these tomato farmers, yet we are importing tomatoes from Burkina Faso.
Because we take the lives of Ekwadonko to expose. That is the issue.
To look at technology.
To look at ketchup and come and tell us.
Is that why we are importing tomatoes?
Let me tell you. Kwame Nkrumah took Ajaz Bukana on scholarship to Moscow, Russia, to go and learn the art of, whatever Ajaz was known for.
Comedy.
I say that it was wise and prudent at the time because the benefits Ghanaians had from Ajaz Bukana, from his return, the days of his return to the days of his passing away. Ask anybody who watched Ajaz Bukana. You understand? His real name was something Ajayi, Kehinde Ajayi or something. Compare it to the benefits Ghanaians are seeing from Ekwadonko. I mean, I'm not belittling Ajaz Bukana in any way, but I'm saying that even in comedy, Ekwadonko, the comic relief that she's creating and all, cannot come anywhere near Ajaz Bukana. Yet, we have people in government who are laboring, struggling to justify why Ekwadonko went there. If President Mahama is serious about tomato production, I point to him, the ordinary farmers of Tono, Via, Afrancho, Akumadan, Adan, Doma, Mankesim, go to the Takrady, Cape Coast area. You see them.
How should the president select those he wants to, travel with to some of these?
The president can even. You see, the issue is that under the Presidential Office Act and the Constitution and several laws, our presidents have the power to do anything. In fact, the president can even appoint somebody to be in charge of tactical flooding in Accra every year. We can't do anything to him. But we want President Mahama to feel for the ordinary Ghanaian, not to taunt the ordinary Ghanaian, that because I must capture political power at all costs, I will recruit an Ekwadonko, deploy her in the most vile of actions against known opposition figures, and that is what they are using Ekwadonko
for. So formalize your suggestions to us. Who is qualified to join the president on such trips?
The Bible says that there's a way that seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof. I will not give President Mahama lessons in who he should take along. You understand? There are so many captains of industry. He has mentioned them. Association of Ghana Industries, agro processing. That's a Ekwadonko own an agro processing unit.
Does she have to
did she bring any seedlings for growing ketchup?
Doesn't she?
Did she bring any tomato seedlings for growing tomato puree?
She said she forgot to bring some of the tomatoes.
No. He said forgot to bring some to eat, not to grow.
Yeah, the ketchup.
Not to plant. Yes.
This is ridiculous. It is shambolic. And I want to say that look, this is a party. Is the 31st December Women's Movement not a part of the NDC?
It is.
Good. One would have expected that if President Mahama was so minded to even take somebody, some women, some, Ghanaians who are interested in tomato growing or agro processing, you would have gone to even 31st December Women's Movement and taking people from there. Rather than Ekwadonko is just being, and we have high-ups in government, rationalizing and justifying, laboring to do it. My friend Apak says that Ekwadonko is a Ghanaian. Nobody has said Ekwadonko is a foreigner. Nobody has said that Ekwadonko is not in good standing. Okay. She pays her taxes.
Right.
The Tono and Via farmers also pay their taxes.
And maybe so
look at them. How messy on them.
I understand Mr. John Menu to say that depending on the object of the trip, you look for captains of industry within that particular industry. So that means that we'll continue to sideline, the poor people out there who also need that experience, don't we?
No, I mentioned who are the poor people. Everybody has this area of endeavor in life. So the president is going to do football issues. You don't expect to go and pick people from AGI or Chamber of Commerce. You understand my point? The president is going, some part of what he's going to do is some media and things like that. He shouldn't leave you here and go and pick a Kuyadonko. Right? So I'm talking about the object of which we are going. Investment promotion. We're going to look at agro-processing. This was an expo that talks about, we have highlighted tomato production and things like that, agric and things like that. He's the best person in the country.
Very interesting. Like you just mentioned, we're highlighting tomato production and everything. And now some of the messages I'm getting include this, that the Panlogo tomato factory, after government revamped it in 2010, produce, what did I say? Polgo, that's what it's supposed to be. Yes, Polgo. After government revamped it in 2010, produced 400 drums of tomato puree, which is rotting away. After the 2012 election, the workers haven't done anything. Can APAC tell us what's happening to that factory? Is anybody going to be held accountable for the losses? What thinking went into the revamping of that factory? APAC, you are from the Upper East, where this factory is located. Yes. Are you happy about what has become of the factory?
He comes from Sandima.
I'm actually from Dorninga, a smaller village.
Okay. So via and
so he says these are people that, you know, were giving hope.
I'll verify. I have no basis to
you don't need verification. I have confirmed it. You don't need any verification.
No, but this has been a fact that's been out there for a while, since 2010.
You see, but
I haven't verified. So
okay.
No,
would you have preferred that someone is picked from that particular factory to do the visit?
I have not argued that someone should not go on a trip with the president on a delegation. As part of a delegation, so to speak. What I'm saying is that at this point in time, for this particular trip, those who composed the delegation felt that Kuyadonko and her presence there was going to be useful, and she has come back, and she is communicating. She communicates with and for a particular segment of our society, for the government. Not for the government.
Okay, so let me read more text messages.
The benefits that we can derive as a people.
Let me read more messages. Okay.
We are very sure that the president didn't go alone. Why is it that out of all the people he went with, it is only Kuyadonko who
there will be a time for Sir John, there will be a time for your good self.
Anyway, some messages here.
Because he's a cassava farmer. Because he's a cassava farmer. So the
gentlemen, let me share with you what some of the people too are thinking about some of the issues we have discussed so far. This one says, when Dr. Mensa Otabil said in 2012, when elections are close, that elections were closed, that education cannot be free. Didn't the NDC use it to their advantage? So was Dr. Mensa Otabil an NDC member? It would be better for the development of Ghana if prominent people are giving their will and not assigned to partisan politics. If the meeting wasn't meant to be a secret one, why shouldn't the party be worried about the leak? Why should the party be worried about the leak? And this is coming from AB. You didn't say where you are sending it from. Parker in Winneba says, as soon as a member of government says, we are ruling this country, quote unquote, then you know you have a problem. Please inform Dr. Park that governments are elected to serve the people, not rule them.
Fair comment.
And then another one says that how many presidents do we have in Ghana? Frank Ejekum should just address Mr. Kufuor as ex-president Kufuor. Not really a big deal. You learn from America. Check what happens there. They have like how many presidents? Okay. Thank you very much for some of those messages. I've got a few more that I'll share with you after this break, and then we'll move on to other matters. And some more of your messages that are coming in. And Evans, Evans Samba is a student of the UCC, and he says the Honorable MP claims that Kuyadonko should not have gone there, partly because she has not been a best farmer before. Does he not think that Kuyadonko could garnish some experience from such trips to possibly become the best farmer? Cyril Alando in Bolga says that, just saying thanks to Egbert Fable and saying that the Polygo factory was actually revamped in 2007. He said he visited there on an educational tour from the UDS with the Faculty of Agric. This one from Danny Kwejo Ampofo says, in plain language, I would put it out there that Mame Ekwe-Donkor is another mole planted by the NDC, just as they planted the former PNC flag bearer to do the dirty politics of the NDC. This is funny because Ghanaians are wide awake as a result of the hardships they are going through under the NDC for the last 6 years. The NDC won't succeed in the coming elections. Okay, a lot of election talk here. And Amachi Ansa Yeboah says, you are helping to make Ghana politics a big joke, Dr. Park. A big joke now and dangerously getting worse. Now your partisan politics is blinding you so badly and dragging your integrity through the mud, sir. You used to hold you in high esteem. Today you look like a what? Okay, I will not convey that. Thank you very much. So deal with the issues and let's leave it at that. Thank you very much. And this one from Justice Affair in Adenta. He says, why are we politicizing the clergy? Isn't it also questionable to invite top religious leaders and leave some out? So what are you talking about here?
Well, I think he's making reference to the point that Egbert made about this national
always
prayer,
have problems with NPP and their secret tape recordings at meetings. It's very childish for a big party like the NPP. A lot of saboteurs. Ben in DC says, seriously, I am against Ekwe-Donkor's inclusion in the president's trip to Italy, but I am also against the president sending only government officials on business trips. I'm not sure they were only government officials. Thank you very much for those messages that you sent in.